Hello, welcome to Shad Life. I have these new wolf tooth waveform pedals, and I want to talk about them a little bit because there's some design aspects of these pedals that I just love, and I haven't even used these pedals yet, and I already know they're going to be great. The reason why I know this is just purely because of experience. I've just been doing this a long time. So I'm going to go back in time and show you what started the whole platform craze. I'm going way back in time. So believe it or not, I have in my hands the OG platform pedal. These date back to, I don't even know the exact year that they came out. I want to say either late 70s, early 80s, something like that. These are Shimano DX pedals, not to be mistaken with the modern day DX stuff. These were a game changer in BMX. Before these came out, we always had caged pedals, and so you had these teeth on the cage, and I'm sure some of you have seen plenty of cage pedals, so I don't need to describe them, but for those that haven't, it's basically a body and then the cage would bolt on and the cage would have teeth, and it was those cages with these sharp teeth that would hold your feet on the pedals. But then these came out, and it was like, when we first saw them, we were like, these little pins are gonna hold our feet onto our pedals. Well, we'd be wearing like Vans shoes, and they worked great. Like, they had better grip than cage pedals, and the best thing about these pedals is they wouldn't get all smashed in. I mean, these have been used and abused for many years. I actually had them in the 90s. I had these on one of my freestyle bikes that I did a lot of street with, and I'm surprised. I can see one of them is kind of bent here, but I'm surprised I didn't break these out, because that was a big thing. If you slipped off a handrail and hit the handrail there, this would break out. And so then pedals started coming with some type of structure in between. But one of the things about these pedals that I want to point out from day one when they first came out, and I don't know why companies make platform pedals without this, is if you look close, you'll see the concave. It even has a little bit this way, but mostly this way. The whole idea of that is that your shoe kind of flexes and goes in there. It may seem subtle, but that makes a big difference. And of course this would be this way, and the shoe would go on like that, and it's concave, and you have the pins, and the shoe combined, the pins combined with the concave, with like Vans or something like that. You definitely had to have good shoes like Vans back in the day. Now we have shoes like 510s and stuff like that. But these are the OG pedals, and one of the things they talked about was that concave and stuff that would kind of get your foot in there. Super sweet. like these even today would be great pedals. Man, the bearings, they just blow my mind. Anyway, so I have a bunch of pedals over here. So these are Bond trigger pedals. They're plastic with metal pins, but you know, plastic or aluminum bodies, both kind of equally work well as long as you have the metal pins. Completely flat. They do this thing, which is what Shimano originally did. The reason why they have this kind of parallelogram shape is so if you step down, the pedal will go like that. Shimano thought of that way back in whenever these came out, 1980 or something like that. Like, so at least companies have kind of followed that kind of shape, but the pedal is completely flat. So you pretty much have to 100% rely on the pins, and there's no pins in the center here, which is kind of interesting. These are some of my favorite pedals. These are the 1-Up pedals. I like these. They don't have any concave either, and they kind of have that bone that I talk about where it raises a little bit, so they kind of do the opposite of a concave. They do have a little bit of traction here and here on the surface, so it's not just completely smooth. So I do like these. They are some of my favorite pedals. Run 510s with them, and they're great. The pins are pretty long, but there's still some things, you know, like that raised middle that I don't really like. Now we're going to aluminum. Let's show you this one. These are Hope pedals. These are also really nice, and they're pretty much purely flat. The one thing I do like is they don't have the sticking up in the middle, and they've got pins everywhere, and again they have like a textured surface traction. Just it's interesting because people probably don't think that's a big deal, but it is. It's like that extra traction on the pedals, and believe it or not, they could actually go with less gnarly pins, because these things scare me. Because of that traction, you don't need quite as long of pins on these pedals. So these are really nice, these Hope pedals, and they're not cheap. And these are cost wise right in the same ballpark as the wolf tooth pedals I'm about to show you. But before I show you the wolf tooth pedals, these Shimano XT pedals, so keep in mind Shimano invented the platform. Like, they were the first company to do it. So I find it interesting that they came out with a pedal that's pretty much completely flat. I'm trying to see, there's a very subtle amount of concave going this way, it looks like. It's really hard to tell. Gosh, I can't tell if it does or not, if that's an optical illusion, but if it is, it's very subtle, not nearly as pronounced as the old DX pedals. And there's no concave going this way. You're 100% relying on these pins, and again, there's no pins in the middle. They're just all on the outer edges. I use these for fat biking with boots in the winter time, and that's pretty much the only time I use them. I don't like these for mountain biking, trails, free riding, that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about the wolf tooth Waveform pedals. First of all, the color is just awesome. Blue. If you've been following my bike build over here, that's why I have blue. So these are the wolf tooth Waveform pedals. So out of all the pedals I've seen as of late, these resemble the original DX pedals as close as possible, except notice they've got a much bigger surface area. Let's line them up more accurately. So there's more surface area, which is good, right? But what they really did is, if you go this way, they didn't concave the front and the back, but they definitely did the middle, so your shoe can cup in there, and they're pretty thin, which is also impressive. The nice thing about a thin pedal is it just gives you more clearance, but they also have that angle, so if you step this way, they'll come down on your shoe. You won't get caught on the edge. I don't think any modern pedal will do that, but the old cage pedals, believe it or not, they had a flat edge, and we would actually, when you put your foot on the pedal, or if you did a trick and you put your foot on the pedal, you could sometimes land right on that flat edge of the pedal. And then when you start to pedal, your foot rolls off and you literally slip a pedal, and that's never fun. So this angle is really important. That's why it's there on most pedals. And I love it that they added the concave in the middle. They have pins in the middle and pins on the outside. These pins are pretty gnarly. I actually asked them if there's a shorter pin, because I would like pins maybe half of this, but they're not quite as nasty as some of these other pedals, but they're pretty aggressive. What worries me with those is if you do slip a pedal, they're going to dig in really good. So the key is, with 510s and these pedals, I rode a lot this past summer. I didn't slip a pedal entire summer wearing my 510s with different pedals. So I really like these. They look cool. They kind of bring back that original kind of similar design that Shimano created from the get-go. They have the pins in the middle. If you look at Shimano, they're kind of worn down and small, but look, there's small little pins in the middle, right? And there's pins on the outside edge. Pins in the middle, pins on the outside edge, concave. So these are super nice. Again, not cheap. They're actually US made, machined right here in Minnesota, believe it or not. That's another thing I like about them. The bearings are sealed and super smooth. Super impressive pedal. Weight wise, they're pretty light, definitely lighter than these. Probably pretty comparable. These are pretty equally about the same weight. Definitely heavier than a plastic pedal with the metal pins. These are much lighter when you go to plastic. I actually don't mind plastic pedals. I know they're less expensive. They actually are pretty durable. I haven't had issues with any of them. And I don't know. They're functional. They do what they need to do. So I don't mind them. So if you're wanting to save money and you have those race face chesters, again, that one has a bone in the middle that I don't like. Now that I've gone to these other pedals, I stopped using chesters. Yeah, Wolf Tooth, Waveform, these are awesome pedals. I'm super stoked to try these. Again, I won't be able to ride these till like April of next year, but yeah, there you have it. These are the Wolf Tooth Waveform pedals. I love it that they brought back some of the original platform pedal concepts because it works. Those Shimano DX pedals were a game changer. And it's pretty cool that Wolf Tooth kind of brought back some of the similar concepts that the original has. Sweet. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.